on. But there was more to his public image, and 3 of his 5 grandchildren will tell us about their Lolo Eddie and why they will be on a mission to keep his legacy alive. Good evening, I'm Pio Ontiveros. Welcome to another special episode of Politics as Usual as we honor the memory of former President Fidel Valdez Ramos. Join me tonight are FDR's grandsons, Sam Ramos Jones, Angel's son, Patrick Halasco, Christie's son, and CJ Sembrano Chula's son. These 3 young men had the privilege of first knowing the man as Lolo Eddie. Hello,
Hi, good evening.
guys, gentlemen. Thank you very much for being here. So there's 8 of you, right?
Yes.
8 grandchildren. How many grandsons? 5.
5 boys,
5 boys,
3 girls.
3 girls. Okay. And CJ, you are the eldest grandson.
Yeah.
But there are 2. One of them is your sister and a cousin who are older than you, right? So who are they?
So my older sister is Liana, and then the one after her is Jelly,
Jelly Halasco, your sister ni
my
Patrick.
sister, yes.
Okay.
and then it's me.
Leana was the one who was carrying the urn
Correct.
yesterday
Yeah.
at your Lolo's burial. Okay. And I'm sorry, CJ, you were born June 1989.
Yes.
Okay. We'll get to the point of why we're talking about when you were born in a bit. Patrick, you were born
March 1991.
March 1991.
Yes.
So that makes you
Campaign baby.
campaign baby. We'll get to the campaign in a
Yes.
bit. Campaign baby talaga.
Yep.
And Sam, August 14, this Sunday,
Yes,
1992, turning
30.
30. Okay. So we mentioned Leana and Jelly Halas. Leana Sembrano, Jelly Halasco. Who are the others? The other apos? The cousins?
I'm the 4th, and then next is my younger brother, excuse me, si Brian, and then si Sam.
Yeah.
They're all 1992, so my brother, Sam, and
Sergio,
Sergio.
and then Adrian.
And Adrian.
Sergio is the son of Joe.
Yes.
Your tita Joe Ramos Martino. Adrian, the daughter of
Reggie.
Yes.
your tita Margie. Okay. But no one was named after Lolo Eddie?
No.
Actually, surprisingly, no.
Why? Why not?
We don't know.
You don't know this?
Yes.
How would you know? Parang ganon.
We should ask that question.
The parents.
Something to ask Lola, but maybe Lola's ego wasn't so big, or Lola wouldn't let him get away with it.
CJ and CJ and Patrick, you had a role in the campaign, right?
Yes.
CJ?
So actually, while I was around 3 years old, they just told me the story because I wasn't old enough to remember. But RJ Jacinto would play music on the stage, and then nandun ako sa gitna, sumasaya, wearing Lolo's clothes and
You mean fatigues?
dancing to the music.
Okay. Yeah, it's good you brought that up. And I'm sure a lot of people are saying that. And quite a number of people have been commenting, when they saw your pictures on social media. And you look just like him. You're his spitting image. And let me go through the shape of the head, the shape of your face, your eyes, your eyeglasses, and the ears.
Yes. And the forehead.
And the forehead. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they call you FDR Liit, is that true?
I
Eddie
guess-
Liit?
Yeah, many FBR, somewhat, yeah.
Mini FDR. Well, how does that make you feel?
Well, honestly, at first I didn't believe it. Like, it wasn't until I saw his photos in his early 20s, when I was already at my 20s, that I realized that we really looked alike. So,
Yeah.
you can see in that photo, that was my gift to him, I think 2016 or 17. Because when I saw his photo, I was like, we really look alike. I have to do this. And then I gave that to him as his birthday gift, and he was so happy to receive it.
So you pose just like him. Let's show the other photo again. The other one. Pakita natin. Yun.
Mukhang kamukha.
Mukhang kamukha, no? Talagang FBR Liit, Eddie Liit. I asked about also your ages, no? So, I mean, apart from the campaign, that like Patrick was saying, campaign baby, then you danced on stage for the campaign also. At what point when you were little boys did you become aware that, ay, si Lolo Eddie is president pala, Sam?
I have a faint memory of being in a Huey helicopter with no doors. That's
How
one of
old were
my
you
earlier
then?
memories. Maybe 4,
Really?
something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's one of the early memories where I realized like this is probably not very normal.
Probably not very normal. CJ?
I think for me, I was around grade 1 or 2. And then during that time in school, people would always vote me as the class president. Yeah, because they were saying that my lolo's the president.
So
So,
you should be.
yeah,
Did you deserve to be class president?
I don't think so.
Grade 1, grade 2, may ganon. And Patrick?
I think like same time, mga grade 1, because, well, first, we would usually have the newspaper fund drive. I don't know if they're still doing that now.
Wow.
But
yeah.
our class would always win. Mainly
Because
because of Lolo. I would ask for all of the newspapers. So, diba, Lolo would always have yung news clippings every
Yeah.
single day. So, as in like stacks of newspapers kahit sa labas ng classroom namin. I would win. We would win. And then we actually also had a field trip sa Malacanang. Or, yun, when I
what
was
year was that? Kasi
It
your
was
lolo was president 92 to 98. Ano year?
97.
97,
Yes, towards
okay.
the end of his term. So,
And he was there, nung nag-field trip kayo.
yes, yes.
So
Actually,
proud na proud ka.
that was when I only kind of, parang was aware that, Lolo's president pala, cause it's such a big thing. Like, I remember my teachers were there and they were all asking for photos with Lolo back then. Yeah.
Okay. The photograph we used of you boys with your lolo and then you're all dressed up in fatigues. How did that make you feel? No, I mean, I have a funny feeling it was your moms who made you wear all those things.
That
Tama ba
was
ako?
actually, I think that was a Christmas in Baguio. So, Baguio
When he was president,
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Dress up as a soldier and being like Lolo, because we were kind of aware na, Lolo was this, like,
This up, I talk about this photograph not just because it's cute, no, but it shows that, and given that what you all are today,
Very lucky that no matter what we're interested in, they've been very supportive.
okay, and of course CJ, for example, your dad, PMA graduate also.
Actually, my father was part of the PMA, and my other grandfather, my late grandfather, was also a general. So I actually had
Your
on the father side.
okay,
So I have 2 general grandfathers.
portfolio manager, right? Patrick, urban
yes,
planner.
an urban planner.
Maybe you should solve the Metro Manila urban
We're
problem.
trying.
Sam, a risk consultant. So these are professions, careers that have nothing to do with the military, right?
Yes.
And talagang charting your own course. We'll be back after a quick break. FVR Sapos, 3 of them, grandsons, with us tonight. Stay tuned.
Ito ang RPN, Radio Philippines Network, DXKT 1071 sa inyong mga radyo, ang Radyo Ronda sa Davao.
Grandchildren, grandsons, CJ Sembrano, Patrick Velasco, and Sam Ramos Jones. Who was the favorite apo? Wala.
I don't think there was.
Yeah.
But I honestly think it was my sister. Or parang nakuha niya at my older sister, Jelly. Nakuha niya yung kiliti ni Lolo.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think.
And she's the eldest, no? The eldest.
Second.
Second to the eldest.
Yes.
Ano yung kiliti ng lolo mo na nakuha niya?
Honestly, don't know. But kasi like, I remember when we were growing up, of course, Lolo having that military background. And I think this was something that Kuya CJ and I hinted at in our speeches during the wake, was that he wasn't really particularly affectionate towards the family members. Excuse me. And so I remember nga, when we would go actually on trips with Lolo, or like just interactions, and I'd observe my sister, parang I'd see Lolo's face.
Light up.
Like he was more expressive. I was like, oh.
Okay. Well, pero normal na rin yun eh, lalo na sa mga military, not very affectionate, di ba?
Yes, yes.
Kasi
That's
syempre stricto. Okay, what do you do or like that is patently Lolo Eddie, patently FVR. And I want to start with Sam because you talked with the media yesterday and you said that you love to read just like him, no? And there's that story about his library that he would borrow books from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got an extensive collection of behind the military and all of that. He was really a nerd. In fact, I found an old letter he had written, I think when he was a captain, maybe even a lieutenant, to his sister, the late Senator Letty Ramashahani. And he was saying, I'm taking Shakespeare's tragedies with me so I don't lose my fine sensibilities in the jungle. So he was a joker and also a nerd. So yeah, I'd during Sunday lunches, I'd disappear down the corridor and start looking at the books.
How many books does he have? Did you ever count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000? More?
More.
Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
Probably.
Yeah.
But sometimes the same copy, multiple copies. If you really like something, you get multiple and
Right.
just share it. But the thing that was funny is for a time he also made me, fill out like a library card.
So all those books have library cards?
Not all.
Not all.
I think the strictness kind of started to go lax after
Over
a
the
while.
years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that book that you borrowed was American Caesar.
Yes, that's the favorite book of mine that I've borrowed.
Okay.
I have a Churchill biography that I haven't gotten around to reading, but this is the last thing I borrowed from him.
So there was a library card. So meron bang may stamp on due date, ganon? Wala naman. It's just like
Signature, yeah, red pen.
okay. And who borrowed it?
Yeah.
Okay. Was there a fine if you didn't return it?
I never made the mistake of finding
Okay.
out.
But you did return American Caesar.
I bought my own copy. Yes, I had to get my own copy later.
Okay. CJ and Patrick, what about you guys?
So for me, I think it was more on the I was very inclined to sports.
Oh, okay.
Probably it
So
was,
was your lolo.
yeah, so was Lolo. So maybe it was his influence that I also love to play golf. So as I mentioned in my eulogy for him, that's where we became close because he kept inviting me to join him.
Talaga?
Yeah.
Who's the better golfer between the two of you? Ikaw.
Yeah. Sorry, Lolo.
Bakit? Mas mababa ang handicap mo?
Yeah.
Talaga?
But I
but
think
it was okay
because
with
of him.
okay. It was okay with him that you beat him.
Yes, yes. And then, aside from golf, I think one of the things that I learned from him that I try to apply in my everyday life is he respected everyone. He gave the same level of respect to everyone, whether they're the president or, just a random person on the street.
Kahit sa rento pa yan. Kahit
Correct.
private.
Yeah, so ganun.
Patrick.
Ang daya ko. I think mine is probably a combination of both. Because I guess first is the unconsciously I was able to pick up his habit of the love for reading.
Also do marginal notes just like him. He's famous for that.
From the books that I borrowed from him, same thing.
Which one of you, the three of you or your siblings and other cousins, back to work? Who's like that?
Parang wala.
Wala,
Wala pa. I don't know.
I think I'm pretty good in a crisis. I've not been in anything as dramatic, mind you,
Yeah.
but part of the nature of our work, we do, crisis management. So there is that element, or even this week, there's been a lot of stuff to do.
Crazy week.
I think we've all got a little bit of this instinct of, when you have to do your duty,
going.
no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing will phase you.
I wouldn't say that, but
Oh,
in
something-
the moment
yeah.
where there's a job to be done, you kind of put everything else aside.
Yeah, well, Colonel Dencio Acop describes him as a crisis leader. He performs best when in the middle of a crisis. And, very mindful and very focused, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that's something that you all took after?
We hope.
We
You
hope.
hope. Okay. So who among you skydives?
No.
Scuba dives?
I scuba.
Sam?
Yeah.
I mean, apart from the golf, huh? And you're the better golfer. Sabi mo. Does push-ups? Who does push-ups?
Yeah, we all do.
You all do.
You want to say when you found out
Which one?
that you started doing push-ups?
How old were you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So growing up, Lolo always asked us to do push-ups, randomly. Yeah.
No, at 3 years old, 4 ganon? That young?
Yes, even.
Really?
Yeah, so while we were wearing the fatigues a while ago,
Yeah.
I remember us doing push-ups per
Talaga?
Yeah, he was asking us. So actually, the moment I found out that he passed, I actually did push-ups.
Really? Oh. That was your instinct, ah.
Yeah, for him.
How many push-ups did you do? The
I
moment
don't remember. I just kept.
Talaga, you just kept going on and on. You lost count?
Yeah.
I bet you ended up crying.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you know, your lolo, ang sabi ko nga it's not what does he do, but what can he not do. It's like he did everything.
You would
Is that how
try.
you,
Yeah.
is that how you saw him, you guys?
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't know what. Well, I was gonna say then, like, probably he couldn't speak other languages, but he's really good in Ilocano and Pangalatok.
Yeah.
Yun. So, I don't know now.
He enjoyed music a lot, but he wasn't very good
Correct.
himself. So
Enjoyed music, like listening.
Yeah, so
but
it's-
he had, yeah.
it's a good thing that Lola is very musically talented, and we have other
She passed it on to her
Yeah.
cousins.
Yeah. So he'd bug her at family lunch, like get on the piano or something.
Even in the arts, I thought, because I have interest in the arts, and I thought, that's something na si Lolo wala. But apparently, like, when in his younger years, he was also an avid photographer. And I remember, I think one of the notes that I read from the late wife of Congressman Belmonte, Mrs.
Betty Go Belmonte.
Parang, she had a note for Lolo saying that, I think this was, she was comparing Lolo with Jaime Zubel de Ayala in terms of their photography. Parang, like, actually, Eddie, mas magaling ka pa dyan. In a joking manner, of course. But, yeah.
Photography is like painting a picture also.
Yes. So, I was like, oo nga pala. Wala, talo na naman ako ni Lolo.
More from FDR's grandsons, Sam Ramos Jones, E. Jason Brown, and Patrick Velasco. When we return, this is a special edition of Politics as Usual.
Ito ang RBN, Radio Philippines Network, DXKT 1071 sa inyong mga radyo, ang Radyo Ronda sa Davao.
Kunyari, and a while ago during the break you were saying something, so of course people say he's mabait, he's strict, he thinks about his men, but give us specific stories, real examples about that, CJ.
So actually, like what I said earlier, that he treats everyone with the same level of respect. I've encountered this numerous of times kasi he's the type of person na ayaw niyang mas special treatment mo siya. So unlike certain travels or conferences I've attended with him, he always want to be with the people. Like engaging with them, taking photos, he never shied away from them. Parang doon siya nag-enjoy. It's actually the opposite, di ba? So, I think those are one of the things that I truly admire about him.
Yung gusto niya malapit siya sa tao.
Approachable.
Yeah, very approachable. There's this story that he visited like 70 provinces and we have like 81 plus, 80 plus, no? I understand what you grandchildren want to do, and I don't know, at what stage you are, but there's a story that's come out that you want to keep his, that you're on a mission to keep his legacy alive, and that's why there was that release, I remember, the FDR legacy, like a few days into the wake. What exactly are you going to do? What exactly do you plan? Is there something concrete, Sam?
Yeah, so the FDR Legacy project has been underway for some time. It's basically a digital presidential library. It was slated to launch December of this year, so we're sad that he wasn't able to make it to see it. But we did have a kind of pre-launch preview event some months ago, which he did watch and was pleased by. But I think aside from that, the other thing that's come out just over the last week with people that attended the wake is that a lot of the things that he was able to implement at that time, some of the policies and also the work ethic, a lot of that is still relevant today. Maybe is even more relevant. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities in the months and years to come because he was also just so prolific, right? So we just have tons of papers to get around. So Not sure exactly what that's all going to look like in the end, but with a life as full of that, I'm very confident. He was here 94 years, but his contributions are going to keep going for decades to come.
The FVR Legacy Project launching in December. We look forward to that. Legacy din ba niya yung mga corny jokes niya?
Yes.
Yes.
How corny was he ba? I mean, really ba? As in, naman, parang ganon.
Comedians, how they test the material before they go on stage. We were the test
Oh,
audience.
you were the guinea pigs.
Always.
Okay, o
Right.
sige. Sample ng
No.
No?
Lolo eh.
He's
I think yung signature niya was always, usually towards after his presidency, yung eyeglasses niya na walang lens.
Yung gaganon siya.
Yeah. So,
CJ,
oo nga.
Oo.
sample like that.
Yung akin hindi butas. Eh.
Okay. Did he play pranks also or just jokes lang?
Joke
lang naman.
I don't think he was a prankster.
Okay. So corny jokes now. Okay. My final question, words of wisdom from Lolo Eddie. When or if you told him what you want to be when you grow up, or the professional career you would like to pursue, and not just for the three of you, but for your siblings and other cousins, did you go to him and then what did he tell you? Patrick, you first.
I think for me, well, one question that I asked him before was, and I mentioned this again in my eulogy, was that, Lolo, how did you surmount the most difficult situations you've been in? Because surely you've been through a lot. And yun nga, like what you mentioned earlier, na he's as cool as a cucumber. And he just pointed to his heart and he said, always do the right thing. And then he also mentioned the cadet's prayer that he learned in West Point, which was, I think a line there was to choose the harder right than the easier wrong. And I think that's something we can definitely see throughout his life, throughout all of the decisions he's made. He always tried to do what's right, most especially the win-win situation or win-win solution. And I guess in addition to that, he always emphasized yung teamwork. He always told us na always take care of your men, always make sure they're well fed. And I think that's one way of him saying na I can't do this alone.
Right.
Na back then, like his vision of Philippines 2000, he very well knew that he needs the help of every single Filipino to push for this agenda, to accomplish this goal. And he, ever since, like he would always tell us, teamwork.
CJ?
Yeah, for me naman, when I approached him, he'd always tell us to never stop learning. Like, keep innovating yourself and never stop learning, because there will never be a point in time na you've learned enough, diba? And then, actually, the next one, I learned after he passed. Because while we were in his wake every day, so many people approached us, telling us how Lolo helped them. So I think, tapos yung mga taong to, they're from different walks of life. So merong mga statesmen, may mga government officials, military men, and even like civilians. So knowing that he helped that many people gives me inspiration to do it also, diba? Kahit 1% lang nung natulungan niya, if we can replicate that, parang we would make a big difference.
Sam?
Yeah, along similar lines. I mean, he was in many ways a very serious person of serious stature, but he never took anything too seriously. He was always joking around, always trying to find kind of common ground with anyone, and whoever he was speaking to or spending time with, was open and warm with them, and that's certainly something that a lot of the people that came to visit mentioned, and it's very touching.
When someone passes, you don't just remember him. It's like, parang you sometimes you can't imagine, parang I'm going to go through life without him or her, no? So when you think of that, and then you think of your Lolo Eddie having just passed away, what are your thoughts, no? And I suppose sometimes you talk to him, no? In your thoughts, in your mind, in your brain. What do you tell him? And ito na yung final word. Sam, you first.
Well, I guess we have the benefit of, he was a prolific writer himself, so sometimes that's a one-way conversation where I get to pick his brain. But yeah, in doing that, I kind of just try to put myself in the mindset of, you know, what would Lolo do in this situation, which typically boils down to, as Patrick said, choosing, you know, the right,
The hard right.
hard way of doing things over the easy way.
The hard right rather than the easy wrong. Patrick.
Ako, I'd tell Lolo na, Lolo, I hope I can carry on your immense love for the Philippines and for the Filipino people. Kasi I like to tell my friends that I've never met someone who loves the Philippines so much as Lolo. Kasi like, siguro 24/7, he just keeps talking about whoever he talks about. Parang a love letter to the Philippines. And I joke nga nung the past few days na siguro the only rival ni Lola sa love ni Lolo is the Philippines.
Okay. CJ?
So I'm same with them, no? Like, whatever Lolo did, I hope we can emulate. So I just always ask him, sana he can, now that he's gone na, I hope he can pass on to us and guide us to be like him, diba? So hopefully we can all apply that to our daily lives.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Sam Ramos-Jones, thank you. Patrick Talasco, thank you. And CJ Zambrano, FDR Liit. Lolo, Eddie Liit. Eddie Ramos Liit. Thank you so much for being with us. This has been a Politics as Usual special presentation honoring the memory of former President Fidel Valdez Ramos, FVR. Looking at him through his grandchildren's, his grandson's eyes. I'm Pion Ferris. Be back here next Wednesday, 8 p.m.
Ito